Today, we're going to spend some time reviewing the Warehouse Implementation Tasks workspace. Within that workspace, we're going to talk about the different elements needed to go ahead and utilize it, including a project, tasks, and progress updates, all performed right within our ERP. We'll jump into a demo in F&O so we can see how this functionality works in action and leave some time for question and answers at the end. I'm Shannon Perko, a Stoneridge supply chain management consultant with over 5 years of ERP experience, mostly within F&O, but with a little bit of experience in AX 2012 as well. I have a focus on operations with a specialty in advanced warehousing, production control, and inventory management. So the star of our show today is going to be the Warehouse Implementation Tasks workspace. This is a relatively new feature added in F&O that gives us a lot of flexibility to track all of our tasks needed to set up a new advanced warehouse right within our ERP. It's a one-stop shop for performing those configuration tasks and also marking them off of our to-do list. We're going to dive into each of these elements in a little more detail throughout this presentation, but this gives us a really good high-level overview of everything that this Warehouse Implementation Tasks workspace can offer us. The starting point on this workspace is going to be a project. A project is going to store all of our tasks related to our warehouse implementation. Now, there's no limit to the number of projects we can have. We're not a one and done, and that's all you get. You can have unique task lists associated with each of these projects, and these projects can be created from scratch or copied from an existing project. So maybe you need to configure 2 new advanced warehouses, but you want to track your project or progress independently. 2 projects can be a very good way to do that. In addition, your users can collaborate on these projects right within the ERP rather than having to go ask someone to close out an Excel sheet or share the link with them. As long as they have access to F&O, they have access to their task list related to this project. So within each project, we're going to see a list of tasks. Now, this task list could be completely created from scratch, or we could import Microsoft's default task list as a starting point. From that task list, you can go ahead and edit, remove, rearrange, add more context, whatever you need to do to those tasks to make them make the most sense for your business and project needs. Additional tasks can be added to the list, and each of those tasks can link us right to a page within F&O. So rather than having an Excel sheet open and another document and another document, all of this can be done right within the ERP. Again, users can be collaborative on this list, and it gives them, some visibility into what will it be like using the ERP once you're live, because they're learning it as part of going through this implementation task list. As we progress through our project, each of these tasks can be updated to reflect that progress. So this will give us visibility into how are we progressing, how are we doing in completing this project, and it's going to track who completed each of those tasks. Maybe you're looking for the expert in a certain area of the advanced warehouse setup. You could go look at that task and see who completed it, and maybe reach out to them as your, subject matter expert of who can help you get more context into that task. We'll see this in action as we go into F&O. So let's take a look over there and create a new project. So starting right from my homepage within F&O, I'm going to navigate to my Warehouse Implementation Tasks workspace. So once I go ahead and open this up, this is going to pull me into just a blank screen because I don't have a project selected currently. I can see in my list, I have multiple projects out here. So if I click into one of my demo projects, I can see that out here, and I can easily switch between projects. So again, it may be advantageous to create multiple projects if you're implementing multiple warehouses or taking a phased approach to your project and you want to keep all of the tasks tracked separately. Having multiple projects out there can be an easy way to do that. I can create this new project from scratch or copy it from one of my projects I already have out there. Since this is a net new implementation, I'm going to go ahead and just create this project from scratch. I can see I've got that new name out here, and I'm going to go ahead and import my default task list. Now, I want that advice from Microsoft of what configuration should I start with as I'm configuring this new warehouse. So while this is importing, this is going to pull in, again, that suggested list of tasks from Microsoft that we should complete when setting up our new warehouse. These are going to populate in a logical order. Again, trying not to miss any of the prerequisite setup. So in order to set up a warehouse, I have to associate it to a site. So these sequence numbers represent a logical order that we should perform these tasks. Each of these tasks has the ability to take us right into the page where we perform that actual configuration. So for example, let's say I'm ready to go ahead and set up my new site. I can click right on this hyperlink and it's going to take me into the new site setup page. So I could go ahead, create my new site right from here, complete all of that setup, and then navigate back to my task list and mark it as complete. Again, I didn't have to open a separate Excel sheet. I didn't have to have multiple tabs open. I was able to do it all right from this task workspace. So let's say I went ahead and completed that task. It's going to hide it from my list now. If I want to show that completed task, I can mark that button for show completed tasks, and it'll add it back to my list with that completed checkbox marked. If I scroll over to the right, I can see who completed it and when they went ahead and completed that task. Scrolling back over, if I need to make any edits to this list, I can also do that. So for example, let's say I want to give someone a little bit more context about what warehouse we need to set up. I can go mark that task in my list and click right on the Edit Task button. From here, I can update the description. So let's say I know that we need to create warehouse 1. So I could put some context in here of set up warehouse 1 or Stone Connect. Now the user has the visibility into what do they need to set up. And if they click this warehouses link, it's going to take them into the page where they need to actually go ahead and complete that setup. Again, all from one list rather than clicking all around to try to figure out where do I need to set up this warehouse. If I determine that, something on this list isn't relevant to me, I'm not using certain functionality like warehouse cross-docking, for example, I could filter on the task category and identify that, or I could mark these different tasks in the list and I could go ahead and remove them. Nope, it looks like we just need to remove our child tasks first. So we'll go ahead and do that. Perfect. So that's going to take those off of my list. And now I don't need to go ahead and complete those tasks. If I need to add a new task, let's say I'm looking through my list and I realize that there's something on here that I need to do that Microsoft didn't, see as a default task. I can go ahead and press this Add Task button and specify my category. So let's say I know we need to set up mobile device steps. My users want to see something different than normal on the mobile device. I could give this some context. In addition to that context, I can go ahead and link this to an actual menu item within the system. So I know this is within warehouse management. setup, mobile device, and mobile device steps. So now, once I go ahead and create this task, it's going to add it to the very bottom of my list. And that link is going to take me right into that mobile device steps page so that I can easily do that setup. Again, if I need to rearrange, I can use the move up and move down buttons. And I can make edits just by pressing that edit task button. As I go ahead and complete tasks, my pie chart will go ahead and update up here. So this can give us really good visibility into what's complete, what do we still need to complete, and how are we progressing. One other unique functionality here is this is also going to give us on our task list access to the warehouse wizards. So if you need to create a lot of warehouse data at once, or maybe you're not sure where to begin, these wizards can be a very good supplement to this tasks workspace. For example, if I click into this inbound configuration wizard, this is going to allow me to set up everything I need to process inbound transactions within my warehouse. This also helps us to create a lot of data at once. So if you know you need to set up 100 warehouses with 100 different locations, you know, one of these configuration wizards can be really useful. I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of this just for the sake of time. But that will take me right back into my list here so I can keep checking off my tasks as I go. So again, as I mark these as complete, it's going to track who did it, at what point in time, and update my bar or my pie chart up here to show me what do I have completed and what do I have remaining. So that is a summary of our warehouse implementation tasks workspace. Hopefully this gives you a good idea of how you could use it to kind of streamline that setup of a new advanced warehouse. As we know, it can be a little daunting when you go ahead and get started.